Hey everybody, Greg DeRocher here from Safe Ride for Kids, where our mission is to help you make every arrival a safe arrival. Today we're going to be talking about the tummy shield and the risks of leg injury, fact or fiction. You'll know by the end of this video. So the first thing I want to talk about is safety. What is it really? You know, as a firefighter of 18 years or so, I feel like I have a pretty good understanding of what safety is. And I feel like safety is really about risk assessment and risk mitigation. So when we talk about being safety, it's about identifying the potential risks and then doing things to mitigate those risks and then taking action anyway, where essentially we put the odds in our favor. So when we're talking about seatbelts in the vehicle, I want to help you understand what they're really, the primary purpose of a seatbelt is and how they're designed to work. The primary purpose of a seatbelt is to restrain the occupant and keep them inside the passenger compartment of the vehicle. A person's odds or chances of being fatally injured go up dramatically once they get ejected out of the car. Then the principles that are at play are that the seatbelt is designed to contact the strongest parts of the body. Now this same principle applies to the design of children's child restraints, kids' car seats, where the harnesses are designed to contact the strongest parts of the body, which are often seen as the hips and the shoulder and the chest. So the adult seatbelt system in the vehicle is designed to do just that. Contact the body across the hips and mid-chest, mid-shoulder. Now, I've seen many different injury patterns from the seatbelt's configuration. One of those is that the seatbelt itself, where it engages the hips, if it's a severe enough crash, it can actually cause fracture to the pelvis itself. The pelvis is basically a bony bowl structure that houses our abdominal organs on the inside, the soft tissue, and connects our back to our legs. But it's essentially a big bowl. And that bowl structure is relatively fragile when compared to, say, for example, the femurs, which are the long, thick bones of the legs. There's another mechanism that happens in a crash where the mass, the weight of the lower legs, pulls on the pelvis and causes the body to rock down and under the lap portion of the seatbelt. When that happens, the seatbelt can actually come off of the hips and intrude into the abdomen, causing injury. Now that's bad enough for the average occupant, but for a pregnant woman, you know, even early in the pregnancy, that can mean a fatal injury to the unborn baby or other types of injuries. So those are the kinds of injuries that we have today with the existing seatbelt system. Is we have the potential for severe pelvic fracture, and the pelvis is actually a very vascular bone that has a lot of blood vessels in it and can bleed a lot. And when it bleeds, it's bleeding into the abdomen, which essentially can extend and grow. It doesn't really contain or compress the bleeding. So in and of itself, pelvic injuries can bleed a lot when compared to other types of bone fractures. So the tummy shield, let's talk about that next. What is the tummy shield? The tummy shield is a crash-tested device that's designed to redirect the lap portion of the seatbelt. Inside the tummy shield here is about 8 pounds of a stainless steel construction that are anchored, that's a single piece to this anchor point here. And the lap portion of the seatbelt is designed to go into this anchor point here and redirect the seatbelt. This part right here has to be restrained or wrapped around the vehicle seat to make sure that the tummy shield is restrained in a crash. So this is what it looks like when it's being used. Who's the tummy shield for? The tummy shield is primarily intended for the pregnant woman, but it can also be used for anybody who has a medical need to redirect the lap portion of the seatbelt off the abdomen. That could be a post-surgery, or it could be a permanent type of medical situation that's a special needs scenario, like, you know, an ostomy bag or something along those lines, where the lap portion of the seatbelt just doesn't fit well and could potentially cause injury or medical complications in a crash. So how does it work? Basically, the first step is the tummy shield gets anchored into the vehicle. Then mom or occupant sits on the tummy shield, positioning this little tag right here behind the anchor point to make sure that the anchor point is not too far forward. We want to make sure that it's furthest, far enough back that the occupant's not going to slide forward before the seatbelt catches them. So we want the lap portion of the seatbelt's coming up across the hip. The tummy shield redirects the crash forces. That's what it does. And as you can see here, it is applying or implementing the principles of seatbelt design, which are to continue or to contact the strongest points of the body and increase surface area, which I didn't really talk about, but the kids' car seats, the reason that there's two of them is we're trying to spread the crash force out over more of the body, which decreases the potential for injury. So that's one of the reasons, and we're contacting both shoulders. So when we use the tummy shield, we're actually increasing the surface area contact, spreading the crash forces out, and we're still contacting the strongest parts of the body because we're spreading that crash energy to the legs as opposed to just across the hip bones of the pelvis. So what the tummy shield claims to do is to redirect the crash forces. Crashes are inherently extremely high energy. So what we're trying to do is assess the risk to a potential, to the risks to an unborn baby or the potential risks to anybody else who has a medical need to redirect the seatbelt. And then we're going to redirect the seatbelt away from that area and still achieve appropriate restraint of the occupant, first to keep them in the vehicle. We also are saying that the tummy shield is crash tested and engineered to be at least as strong as the seatbelt itself. So the strength of this hook is tested to ensure that it's going to stay in place even in a severe crash. It's an extremely well-built, hefty-duty piece of equipment. So the answer to the question, fact or fiction, it is fact. There is the potential for leg injury in a crash, and there's also maybe even the likelihood of bruising to the soft tissue. But the question that we need to evaluate when we're deciding to use the tummy shield or not is the risk to the unborn baby or the other medically sensitive abdomen more or less when using the tummy shield? And at Safe Ride for Kids, we believe that while there are risks to injury to the legs, the benefits to the unborn baby or the medical sensitive abdomen outweigh those risks. If there's enough crash energy to break one or both of the strongest bones in the body, can you only imagine what would have happened to the pelvis and or the abdomen and the baby in the way. So I hope that has explained the risks and what the tummy shield's intended to do. If you enjoyed this video, we appreciate you sharing it with your friends and family, anybody who you think might benefit from knowing this information. And if you want to learn more about the tummy shield, visit tummyshield.com. You can hit the link that'll be posted right below here. We appreciate the shares, and remember that safety is about putting the odds in your favor.